Hi guys, how are you? I'm Robin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to this new video. Now, you know that the whole of this month I'm raising money and awareness for Movember, and I'm really excited about this video. I've got a really inspiring guy. He's Fergus Crawley. He's 22 years old and he's here to talk about mental health and his own story. 2 years ago, he got to such an extreme place that he tried to take his own life, and now he's raising money and awareness for the charity. Fergus, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Welcome, welcome.
I've been going through all your social profiles. I've been looking at the videos you've been doing, and I'm amazed because you're doing this Guinness World Record attempt.
Yep.
And it's a crazy number, which I feel like might actually even be wrong. 460,000 kilogram squats.
Yeah, correct.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours. The plan is to split it up through a much lighter weight. A lot of people have been thinking that I'll do it with heavier weight because of my background in strength training, but it's more of an endurance event than it is a strength event. It was a combination of the both, but the plan with which I'll do it is 7,666 reps at 60 kilos. So that's the method.
And this is all going to culminate on the 12th of December.
12th of December, which is my 23rd birthday.
Okay.
And
you're doing it as a live, so it's all going to be filmed.
Yeah, filmed and live streamed starting 8 PM on the 12th, going through to 8 PM on the 13th.
That's amazing. And what I'll do is I will link all of that plus your Movember page. And so far, Luke, this morning you've raised £4,000 to today when we're filming.
Yep. As well as the money, I'm just hoping to raise as much awareness for what I'm doing it for along the way. And I think as well as the £4,000 we've raised so far, there's been a really, really rewarding amount of actual support and interaction from people. I'm just trying to contribute to the bigger picture, which is the problem with men's mental health and the stigma that you need to be hard when in reality we're only human. So
I kind of want to talk about how you got to this position, because
yeah,
you've got a story which will resonate with a lot of men. It went to an extreme, and that's how you've kind of come through this other side of it.
Yeah.
So that was back in 2016?
So yeah, 2016. I'll start from the top. So 2014, finished school, went to Durham University. Went there, chose the self-catering college based on the fact that I was counting on my calories, very into my fitness, and thought self-catering would be the easiest way for me to manage that. Not realising that the college you end up in completely defines the sort of personality and characteristics of the people you're around. So after a week or two of genuinely trying, I didn't give up and sort of ruled myself out. I was acutely aware that although everyone was very pleasant and nice, they weren't going to be friends for life. And then that started to dawn on me, and I started to think, how can I sort this out? Which is why I got into the powerlifting. So the powerlifting underpinned my day in that it was sort of the main focus, and I did start to make friends at the gym. But by the time I made friends with them and actually become integrated with that lot, they'd signed for a house in second year, so I had no one to live with in second year. Ultimately, that period of my life from 2014 through 2015 into 16, I just never really found it never felt like my university experiences was like others. These things started to culminate, and well, I wasn't diagnosed because I never saw anyone, but I've been retrospectively diagnosed. I was depressed throughout that period. So that was 2 years to a year and a half, basically. Right. Yeah, the bulk of my time was spent in isolation. Yeah, and I just lost all my sense of drive. It started to affect me physically, where I couldn't get to sleep, and then if I did manage to fall asleep, I'd wake up 20 hours later, having slept through 15 alarms, and it was just all very strange. and prior to that, I'll be entirely honest, I didn't really understand or necessarily believe in the notion of mental health having effects on your physical health, or even just the concept of depression as a whole, because it's only recently come to the forefront of people's minds, ultimately. And I've actually successfully managed to blur out a lot of this period, just kind of out of refusal of getting to that stage. But in May 2016, I attempted to take my own life. And the worst thing is about that, when I came round and realised that I'd failed, I didn't tell anyone for a year that it had happened, so no one knew. And I know it's contradictory to my message, but what I learned from that is that I could have avoided that stage. So if that was stage 10, for example, I could have stopped, I could have nipped it in the bud at stage 2 had I actually just openly spoken to someone. But because I didn't say a word, I kept going through that and it kept getting worse, and it ultimately led to that. And beyond that, the fact that I then didn't speak to anyone about it ultimately meant I never really confronted the trauma of it. And I don't think I've really done that until recently.
So this awful experience and this awful event had happened. You, as you say, you came round and you didn't talk about it for a full year.
No, I sat in the room for about 5 hours and just contemplated what had happened.
And did you feel differently about yourself after that?
The worst thing is I felt weaker. I felt like I'd failed myself even more than I had done beforehand, because it's twisted to say, but I felt like because I'd failed to do that, I actually couldn't do anything anymore, which is obviously something that I can imagine is very hard to understand unless you've been in that position. But the reality of the situation was that in my mind, I'd been failing for X amount of months, and then when I'd actually decided to do something, I'd failed at that too. And obviously in the mental state of mind, that was how I looked at it, which was just a twisted, dark outlook on things. But after a while, I was managing to actually see it as a bit of a blessing and take it as the kick up the arse I needed to just figure something out. But people knew I was struggling, but I don't think anyone ever expected me to be in that position. But that's exactly how I felt, which is why I didn't open up about it, because I knew that's how they feel as well. I mean, I spoke to my parents, but I think the issue was I didn't say how bad it was. It just came across as being down and kind of having a bad day or whatever, because I didn't speak to them. It wasn't constant. It was occasionally I'd phone them and just say, "Oh, this is terrible." Superficially,
everything was.
I was strong.
Yeah.
Internally, I was suffering big time.
How did you get out of this, and how are you now here talking, so openly about it?
What my attempt did do was made me aware that something drastic had to change. So that's where I bought the dog. Even though I'd completely lost interest in my own life, as it were, suddenly I was responsible for another. And that gave me the purpose to care about my own one again, because of the chain there, and that he can't exist without me.
Yeah, you had to be there.
So I have to exist. Toilet training was a struggle for him to start with, so it was a nightmare. But the thing was, it was a welcome nightmare, because it was a challenge, and it was a challenge I hadn't had in months, almost years.
And you also said that you were talking to the dog.
So
this was actually the first person or thing you were actually
correct,
sort of talking about how you were feeling.
Yeah, so on walks, so just talking to him, just training him along the way, but in amongst that training, I'd just say things that I hadn't said out loud before, and being able to say them out loud and hear me say them, it made it hit home a little bit. But that was step one, in that saying them out loud made me more consciously aware of what was going on and
how you were feeling.
Exactly, but the key thing was I said them out loud. That was the absolute critical point. What happened was being open enough with Odie about it meant that I could be open enough with myself about it to be able to be happy again. Obviously, I never confronted the trauma because I just swept it under the carpet. I told my parents basically a year afterwards, and told a few people along the way. But I had personally never actually really confronted what had happened, because I'd used the time from then until now to just be happy again. I was happy.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. I've almost taken nearly 2 years to rebuild myself back to where I can be myself again, and that is the critical thing, in that I've been able to not go through the motions, but just kind of enjoy being happy.
Yeah. And allow yourself to be happy.
Exactly. And this process has almost been catharsis for me, because talking to people, talking to strangers, talking to friends, having people open up to me about things that they wouldn't have done, has allowed me to actually acknowledge where I was. So it was 3-4 weeks ago, there was a moment where I don't even. I think I was just sitting at home. I think I was doing emails on my laptop, and I just broke down to tears. It was just. It actually hit home that I tried to take my own life. That was the first time it had properly dawned on me. And from that, I then just got this real desire to just push this as far as it can go, so that even if one man stops himself getting to the stage I got to by talking to someone sooner, it's been a resounding success. Because I know firsthand, and I know I didn't talk, but I can categorically say from my experiences that had I spoken to someone, had I opened myself up to the support network I had, I wouldn't have got anywhere near where I got to. I mean, even if you feel like the loneliest person in the world and that you've got no one to speak to, there are people that you can speak to. I'd implore everyone to do so. I was lucky enough to have, I had people I could speak to at the end of the phone, or obviously anyone, I could go and see anyone, but I should say too, I'll put links and numbers for anyone that wants to sort of contact someone about this too. I chose not to, because I thought people would think less of me for opening up about it, and I thought less of myself. So openness and fulfilling the societal expectation of being a man are not mutually exclusive. No, they're actually symbiotic these days, and for society to keep developing and for men to be the men that they need to be, openness and the courage to talk is a critical aspect of moving forwards as society as a whole, in every culture, in every echelon of whatever country we're in. That is a critical and fundamental aspect of what it means to be responsible, I think. Exactly. Because men have families, men are brothers, men are dads, men are sons, and you might not feel responsible to yourself, as I didn't, but you're a part of someone's life somewhere, in one way or another. You make an impact. Exactly. Yeah. There needs to be a collective effort, because the statistics, suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 44 in the UK, which is it's just horrific. And it's avoidable. Exactly. And I think we're making steps, and I'm just hoping that I can, through doing what I'm doing, taking myself into physical hell, I can inspire some men to take the necessary steps to get themselves out of their emotional hell, and just encourage everyone along the way to just be there for each other and be there for themselves is the main thing. I think you're doing a really great job of it. I mean, thank you. A great ambassador. The whole thing about the strength, but being able to talk about how you felt, I think is amazing. And this is exactly why we're doing this, which is for the Movember cause. We're talking about men's mental health, men's physical health, and showing that we all should be supporting it. So I'm going to link your donation page. I'm also going to donate straight after this, and also support you on the day of doing it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Guys, make sure you donate to Fergus. Do it now, and also watch his live attempt. Thank you again. Thank you.